His Excellency Mr. Jerry Sambuaga, Vice Minister of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Taraka Balasurya, State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, I would like to greet Excellencies in both Indonesia and Sri Lanka delegation. This ceremony marks the beginning of a new page of trade collaboration between Indonesia and Sri Lanka. For the past 5 years, trade performance between Indonesia and Sri Lanka have reached 2.14 billion US dollars, and on 2023, the bilateral trade performance was recorded at 369.7 million US dollar, surpassing the previous year's achievement of by 17.6%. With these encouraging statistics and the spirit to enhance the trade relations between the two countries, government from both sides have decided to pursue a higher level engagement through a preferential trade agreement, PTA. Such PTA is expected to boost bilateral trade even further, reflecting the potential of the two economies. So without further ado, we will start the launching of the negotiations of Indonesia-Sri Lanka PTA. Now I'd like to invite His Excellency Vice Minister of Trade of Indonesia, Bapak Jerry Sambuaga, to deliver his remark. Vice Minister, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Your Excellency Minister Taraka Balasurya, good afternoon from Jakarta. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you, Minister. The discussion towards a bilateral trade agreement between Indonesia and Sri Lanka was initiated by our leaders in 2017. At the latest bilateral meeting in Beijing on 17 October 2023, both presidents agreed to establish the Indonesia-Sri Lanka Preferential Trade Agreement, or PTA. Sri Lanka is an important partner of Indonesia in the South Asian region and has great potential to increase bilateral trade. Total trade between the two countries in 2023 is reached 369.7 million US dollar, an increase of 17.61% from the previous year at 314.4 million US dollar, and has grown positively for the last 5 years. The negotiation of Indonesia-Sri Lanka PTA that will be launched today is expected to enhance market access, boost economic growth, and become the first step towards a free trade agreement FTA. I hope that the negotiating teams of both countries will work diligently to accelerate the conclusion of the negotiations. Thank you so much, Excellency.
Thank you, Vice Minister. Now allow me to invite His Excellency State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, Mr. Taraka Balasurya, to deliver his remarks. State Minister Balasurya, you may now have the screen.
Thank you. Honorable Dr. Jerry Sambuaga, Vice Minister of Trade of Indonesia, Her Excellency Dewi Lastina Tobin, Ambassador of Indonesia in Sri Lanka, His Excellency Kantha Konabage, Ambassador of Sri Lanka in Indonesia, Mr. Jamiko Brice Jitjasong, Director General of International Trade Negotiations on Indonesia, Mr. KJ Veerasinghe, Chief Negotiator of the Office of International Trade of Sri Lanka, officials of Indonesia and Sri Lanka joining this occasion, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to make a few remarks at the launch of the negotiations for Preferential Trade Agreement, which is a precursor towards a free trade agreement between our two countries. Our two countries enjoy long-standing bilateral relations covering diverse sectors. However, exports from Sri Lanka to Indonesia remains at USD 48.9 million, and imports from Indonesia remains at USD 375 million, with a total trade of USD 425 million in 2023, which does not reflect the true trade potential of the two countries there is certainly room for expansion of trade. In this backdrop, bilateral trade agreement of this nature can play a catalyst role in expanding and diversifying bilateral trade for the benefit of our people. This PTA will initially relate to trade in goods, and the scope would be expanded to other mutually beneficial areas, leading to an FTA. The idea of bilateral trade agreement between the two countries was initiated during the bilateral meeting between the presidents of our two countries held in 2017 in Jakarta and 2018 in Colombo, respectively. Although it is after a lapse of few years, commencing of negotiations of PTA is a milestone in Sri Lanka-Indonesia relations. Sri Lanka was the first country in South Asia to adopt an open market economy and liberalize economic activities in 1977. Currently, the government of Sri Lanka is working towards further liberalizing trade and investments and access to global regional markets, linking to global supply chains and value chains, including with ASEAN countries, for further economic integration. The Singapore-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement, which was signed in January 2018 and was fully implemented with effect from July 2023, and the Free Trade Agreement with Thailand, which was signed on 3rd February 2024. Joining the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, is a priority for Sri Lanka, which would enable us to enter into the world's biggest free trade area, thereby gaining access into greater global supply chains and value chains. Therefore, I earnestly believe that Indonesia will extend its fullest cooperation for Sri Lanka's application to join RCEP. On that note, let me wind up my remarks, inviting officials of both countries to commence PTA negotiations soon and to work in a time-bounded manner, enabling the swift conclusion of the PTA that will deepen trade economic activities between our two nations and use this foundation to commence negotiations on the more ambitious FTA building on the PTA. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Now we will proceed to the signing of the joint statement for the launching of Indonesia-Sri Lanka Preferential Trade Agreement negotiations. Now I would like to invite His Excellency Vice Minister Jerry Sambuaga and His Excellency State Minister Taraka Balasurya to sign both copies of the joint statement. As both countries have reached an agreement, to launch the negotiations towards a preferential trade agreement between both countries. Now, please allow me to invite His Excellency Vice Minister Jerry Sambuaga and His Excellency State Minister Taraka Balasurya to raise the joint statement and show it to the screen for a photo session. All right. Thank you, Excellencies. Thank you, Excellencies. And before we conclude our historical event today, I would like to invite His Excellency Vice Minister of Trade of Indonesia, Bapak Jerry Sambuaga, and His Excellency State Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, Mr. Taraka Balasurya, to deliver his closing remarks, starting from the Sri Lankan side. I would like to invite State Minister Balasurya. You may have the screen.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We are very glad that Indonesia and Sri Lanka has long-standing historic relationship, and I think it's right time that we also improve on the economic front. I know Indonesia has signed many FTAs and also has integrated very well with ASEAN. Sri Lanka, of course, has some ways to go, and also the remarkable work which is taking place. When I was in Indonesia, I was quite amazed at the remarkable, especially with the downstreaming and all the economic activities which is taking place in Indonesia. And I also feel that if we go ahead with the PTA sooner rather than later, then we can also move towards the FTA, and we can also look at investments. Certainly, Sri Lanka can act as a gateway to the Indian subcontinent, and so I hope that the officials from both sides will expedite this agreement, and we'll come to a conclusion soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Vice Minister Jerry Sambaga, now the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Minister. Allow me to express my gratitude to Minister Taraka for the spirit of cooperation and collaboration throughout our meeting today. I recommend that our negotiating teams can meet in the first semester of 2024 to start the opening round of Indonesia-Sri Lanka PTA negotiations. I honestly haven't been to Sri Lanka, Excellency. I would love to go to Sri Lanka along with my Director General, Pak Jatmiko, and Pak Director Pak Joni, and can't wait to be there. So I'm waiting for the right moment, as soon as possible to be in Sri Lanka, and hope to meet you directly and all the officials and also all the people, all the officials and business stakeholders, all the stakeholders, so that we can possibly have fruitful agreements, fruitful outcomes that will be giving a lot of positive impacts to our agreement. So again, thank you for the attention, Honorable Minister, Excellency, and success to all of us. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Excellencies. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the launching of the negotiations of Indonesia-Sri Lanka Preferential Trade Agreement. On behalf of the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, we would like to express our highest appreciation for your participation. May the PTA negotiations bring prosperity for Indonesia, for the people in Indonesia and Sri Lanka to the years to come. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Thank you.
Thank you.